Welcome to the Love Society or the Self-Love Society. This is the podcast for people who are on the journey of self-discovery and wellness with a dash of foolishness sprinkled on top. This is a safe place to learn, laugh, and discover your own individual path.
Hey guys, welcome back to another fabulous Self-Care Sunday. We are so glad to see you guys back here with us once again for another session.
Yes.
My name is Nkiru, the Love Guru.
And my name is Tony Gillen, licensed professional counselor extraordinaire.
That's right. Accolades.
Speaking into existence.
Yes. It
manifested.
Manifest.
That's
manifested.
That's the word. Yes, manifested.
So, it's been another week, another challenge, another set of challenges, another 7 days we were blessed with. So, we're going to talk about it.
Yes.
First and foremost, how you doing, T?
How am I doing?
Yeah.
You know what? I have no idea.
We switch places every week. Last week I was like, fuck it.
I have no idea. I'm sitting here thinking, I'm like, wait a minute. It's so many different things in my mind. It leaves me sitting still. But I'm doing okay. I think I'm in a place of self-reflection and self-discovery. I'm being challenged in certain areas, and it's making me lean on the work that I've done on myself over the last year. And, you know, it's making me have to use the tools that I've acquired.
Oh, final exam time.
Yeah, it's like the final exam time, or maybe it's just a chapter test because, you know, the test isn't necessarily over, you know, where I'm supposed to be. Like, I feel like God is testing me with some similar things that I've been through in my past. And he's seeing if I'm going to make the right decision this time. And so I am really leaning on that. I'm also just remembering who I am and who I'm trying to become. Just doing some reassessments of what do I want in life and what am I willing to go through and what I'm not willing to go through. Just kind of doing like a reassessment of where I'm at and who I am.
Yes.
Just been really enjoying my time with my children and just being able to observe them and see them grow. It's just a blessing to be it's a blessing to be a father.
Yes.
Because I don't know, I guess me and my background, like being a father was always something I aspired to be. And when I had my first child, it was just like a huge step for me, and I just knew that this was what I was meant to be.
Yeah.
And so I take that very serious. And so even in my dealings with my kids, I'm always just very observant of them, and very just intentional about how I parent them. I did a podcast with my friend.
I saw that.
Quan. He does the fatherhood podcast over there.
I saw that.
That was a whole lot of fun.
Shout out to Quan. Y'all go check out his podcast and listen to the episode.
Yep. Fatherhood and podcast.
And follow him. You know, don't just listen to T's episode. Listen to all of them.
Yeah, he has a lot of. I love what he's doing with just highlighting fatherhood and from black men who come from different industries.
Yes.
No, he had a pastor on. He had a professional basketball player who went to college with us, and he had me on recently. He also had a guy who was disabled, sort of.
Oh, wow.
And so he talked about fatherhood. And
that's dope.
Yes, and so definitely check out his podcast. But I had a lot of fun doing it this week, which just kind of. I don't know, I feel like these things that I've been involved in lately have been kind of filling me up. I feel like the universe is pouring into me right now.
Well, this is all the things that you have manifested that you wanted.
Yeah.
And they're all coming into fruition. So, yes.
Yeah. How about you? How you doing?
I'm doing a whole lot better than let me tell y'all something. Last week, I just want to apologize to everybody out front because I was doing shit. I was not doing great at all.
What's that meme where that girl sitting up and she looked like she don't know what's going on? She just like what's rocking in the chair?
Yes.
Yeah, that was you.
What's my girl? What's her name? Is it Aquila? Not Aquila and the Bee. The one who keeps saying, she got the meme and she was like, I wouldn't know a thing. If it
Oh,
came
Keke Palmer.
That's how I felt
bless
last week.
that man. I don't know that man.
He walked up to me and said, I wouldn't know a thing. That's how I felt all last week. I didn't know what was going on. Everything was so like, what the heck?
Yeah.
This week is so much better. I feel you on that whole God presenting you with things and seeing how you're gonna react. I felt like I was presented with a major final exam type test for me, and my personality and what I'm trying to cultivate for myself. I think I passed. I think I at least got a B.
There we go.
Not just a C. I think God said, all right, you ain't ace it, but you know.
Yeah, you did pretty good.
I don't think I aced it because my attitude wasn't there. So I'm just being all.
They lost a couple of points.
You know, I definitely lost some points in the attitude department because my attitude was, yeah, I remember y'all was here last week. My attitude was in the toilet. My attitude was not in the best place. But execution and applying what I've learned, I think that I did those things well, and I think that gave me a B. So I'm and doing what I knew that I needed to do, even though it was difficult for me emotionally to do, felt good. It felt good to say, I did that. You know what I mean? Like that felt so good for me. And I don't know, I've been on a high since then. I've been like, ooh.
Sometimes we have these things that like we get faced with these challenges that kind of scare us a little bit.
So daunting.
And then we think that, oh, I can't do it. And then when we do it, it's like, that wasn't so bad.
They're so daunting, and then you become depressed. And you place this depression upon yourself. Whether you think it's you placing it or not, you really are. And you know that you're placing it upon yourself because after you complete the task, it dissipates. And you're like, oh, well.
It's like a weight lifted off your
It's
shoulder.
like that kid. You ever see that meme with that kid and he's got his arm stuck in a jar or something, and he's like hollering, ah! And his mom just pulls his arm out, and he looks at it and he puts his arm back in and he goes, ah! It's like, you're doing this to yourself.
It's like you keep doing, you don't want you putting your arm back in that jar.
You are not stuck in this jar. You have plenty of room to take your arm out, but you just want to be in this jar.
Some people are addicted to chaos.
Yes, and they don't feel comfortable when things are at peace because they don't know how to act. And it's a wonderful thing. You know what I mean? If you are a person that, and if you're Black, unfortunately, this is kind of a shared experience for us, to where we know how to function in a certain amount of chaos. We have a built-in amount of resilience as a people, period, just because of the obstacles that are given to us. You know, it's like getting a bad spades hand off the rip. But we know how to play with that mug. You know, we know how to play with this spades hand. We know how to make some of these hearts and diamonds walk. We know how to club it up. We know how to make some books.
You know, I don't play spades. I don't know what you're talking about.
We know how to I declare war it up. Shoot, face 10, I don't tell you. But we know how to make the best of any situation without all of the necessary amenities that other people might necessarily get. So with that being said, we function well in that.
Yeah.
But what do you do when you have all the amenities? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Now that sometimes we get the amenities and we're like, okay, I don't know how to function in this. You know what I mean? I have to fight through this and I have to fight through that. Some people shy away from that. If things are too normal or it's too stable, they're like, nah.
Yeah.
I ain't finna even fool with it. It's like, instead of assuming that it is, I don't know, a stable thing, they automatically assume there's some sort of catch to this. There's some sort of something
I think
wrong.
that too.
Yeah.
I think it's when you're used to chaos and then you get put in a position where things are at peace, it's like your anxiety heightens because you're like, okay, when is the other foot gonna drop? Yeah.
Yes.
When is the other foot gonna come down? Because I'm not used to this level of peace, and so I can't even get comfortable because I'm so used to chaos.
I just want to see something, because if I can see something, then I can be like, okay, that's what it is.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But it's like when it's so smooth, you just like, bruh.
Yeah.
And for me, it was like, things was chill. You know what I mean? It was a minor level of chaos. I wouldn't even call it chaos. I guess I would say a minor level of inconvenience for my particular situation. But even though it was a minor level of inconvenience, I was placed in a situation to where it was like, okay, how are you going to deal with this minor inconvenience? Now, if I'm in chaos, I'm already in chaos, and it's a minor inconvenience, it's easy for me to deal with the thing because I'd be like, I already got a lot going on anyway. I don't need this little minor.
Right.
It's so easy to say that because I got all of this going on anyway. But when you don't have all of this going on, and that minor inconvenience, how do you deal with that? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Do you let it ride because it's minor? Or do you be like, this is not something I would typically deal with? And that was a test I had to really sit and be honest with myself about and be like, are you dealing with this because everything else is Gucci? Or are you not dealing with it because you want to have some level of chaos in your life?
That's a very deep self-reflecting question.
Listen, why do you think last week I was in a glass case of emotions? Put in the comments if you know what movie that's from.
Glass Case of Emotions?
Yes.
I don't know what that's from.
How do you not know which movie that is?
I don't know. I probably never saw it.
You've seen this.
I have?
You have too, F.
Okay, well.
I'm in a glass case of emotion.
Is that from, what's the cartoon movie with the emotions?
No.
No? Okay, well, I don't know.
It's older than that.
Okay, well, if you all have heard of this movie, put it in the comment section. Let a brother know because I am lost. I relate to you because I feel like this week has reminded me of the importance of processing your thoughts, because sometimes we feel like I come across people all the time who are like, okay, I'm going to deal with this one time and then that's it. Like, no, sometimes, and when you're processing, you have to constantly go over it over and over again. I've had the same conversation this week with talking to you.
Yeah.
We've had it probably 2 or 3 times.
I think we did have 3 times this week.
I had the same conversation with other friends, and I'm like, I had to have the same conversation. Like, why do I got to talk about this again? Because I'm still figuring it out. And then it got to a point where I was like, okay, all right, I'm good.
This is what
but sometimes you got to talk about something over and over again, even though it seems like, why do I keep thinking about this? You got to process it because it's kind of like, oh, we go get spiritual a little bit.
Hey,
it's kind of like it's kind of like reading the Bible a little bit. Like,
it is.
Every time you read the Bible, you're going to get something different.
Yes, you are.
Like something is going to hit you differently than you read it the first time.
Because you're different you're different than where you were the first time.
Yeah.
And that's the reason why it hits you differently. The first time you read it, you were one person. As you grow, whether it's a day later, 14 minutes later, you are a completely different person. Second time that you read it, that's why it hits you differently every time.
Yeah. And so that's how I kind of felt this week, where the conversation I kept having, I was like, okay, I was getting something different each time, and it was helping me to be able to put together the puzzle that I was trying to figure out.
Yes,
for myself.
A lot of times, you ever watch that, like when you're downloading a file, like sometimes you download a file and it goes zoop, and then it be 100%, and sometimes it goes,
it go piece by piece. You be like,
but even though it's going piece by piece, it's still going to get you the same result.
Exactly.
Sometimes you get situations in which it will zip through and it'll give you the download immediately. Sometimes it takes a while to receive the download.
Yeah.
And normally when it takes a while to receive the download, it's because it's a bigger thing or a bigger choice that has to be made.
It's a bigger size.
So when it's a larger file, it takes a little bit longer. So when you are having to process longer or think longer, it is normally because this is a pivoting moment in your life, and you need to take, I'm sorry, y'all, for getting spiritual, but God, spirit, whoever you want, I don't mean to offend nobody, but God is trying to slow you down to make sure that you are taking time out to get everything you need in this download. Because if you just be like, okay, done, you only got 47% of the file. That's not going to open up. You know what I mean? You need the whole 100%. And sometimes God needs to slow you down in order for you to get the full download.
Yeah.
And that's all that it needs.
Exactly.
And that's because it's a big thing. You know what I mean? When it's small, God get to you like that.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Oh, that's nothing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just that. But when it's bigger, sometimes God has to slow you down a bit and say, okay, take a minute, think about this. Let's process this. Let's let it load and boot up and download. Let's let it completely transfer into my mind what is going on.
Right.
Before I open up and give an answer.
That is true.
Because if I open up at 47%, my answer may not be accurate based off of all the data.
Mm-hmm. Had I decided what my thought process was going to be, or decided what I was going to do based on the first time I had a conversation, it would have been totally different than what I came to after I had it a few times. You know, and so yeah, I'm. It just reminded me this week of just the idea of processing, and it's important to have people in your life that you can talk to. Like, make sure that you have a network of people,
some sort of circle.
Yeah, a group of people who you know will allow you to process things. They won't denigrate you. They won't look down on you. You want to make sure that you have a great support system, because it's when you reach those pivotal moments in your life that if you don't have those people, like, you can be lost.
Can I add something to that?
Sure.
As you're trying to develop your support system, I would encourage you to try to make your support system as eclectic as possible. Your support system should not just be
like-minded individuals
or just a group of your homegirls. Find you a family member that you can talk to. Find you somebody who is, I don't know, of a different age than you that you can talk to, who thinks from a different perspective, different gender than what you are. You know what I mean? So that way you can look at that situation from all different points of view.
Yeah.
Because if everyone thinks like you, looks at the world the way that you are, then all it is doing, it's not a different perspective as much as it just is a magnifying glass from your perspective, or a megaphone from your vantage point. It's just echoing the same thing that you already are seeing. You know what you're seeing.
Yeah, you're missing out on a total picture.
Yeah, you need to see what other people are seeing. If you're trying to describe, have you ever heard the analogy about, I think it was like 5 blind men, and they were trying to give a description of a elephant.
Okay.
So you had one that was on the tail, one that was on the leg, one that was on the trunk, one that was touching the tusk, and one that was touching the body of the elephant. And they were all giving different descriptions of what an elephant is. So the one that was on the body was like, oh, it's like a wall, like just strong and like a wall. The one that was on the trunk was like, oh, it's like flexible, like a snake. That's what an elephant is. And the one that was on the tusk was like, oh, it's like pointy, like a porcupine. It's like a prickly thing. The one that was on the tail was like, oh, it's slender. And, and it's like, yes, an elephant or all of those things.
Yes, all of that.
But that's kind of the analogy of looking at something from only your perspective. I can say, yes, an elephant is like a wall, but an elephant does have parts of it that's like a snake, and parts of it that's slender, and even parts of it that's floppy like the ears, or whatever the case may be. But when you are creating a diversified circle of people who can give you perspective from all different points of view, then they can tell you about the tail. They can tell you about the nose. The trunk.
Yeah.
They can tell you about all different parts, and then you can take all those parts, bring them together, and and then say, okay,
have a better sense of what you're looking at.
Yeah, and then have a better way to describe what an elephant is, instead of just saying, well, I'm just gonna go off of what I know, and then that just be what it is.
Yeah.
You may be right, but only partially, because you only have part of the picture.
True. That's a good point. That is a really good point. I like that. Did you have a chance to see the new trailer for the movie American Skin?
American Skin. Is this the one about Fred Hampton?
No, I do want to. I don't know. Remember, what was it called? Black Jesus or something like that?
I think so. Something like that.
I kind of want to see that, because I've never seen anything about the Black Panther Party before. Yeah. I don't know much about the Black Panther Party.
I know a little bit about
and so
Fred Hampton.
I would love to learn more about that. But this new American Skin movie, it centers around a father who lost his son. He witnessed his son being shot and killed by a police officer, right? Unlawfully, unfairly,
Yeah.
whatever. And it looks like in the trailer they go and take over a police station, and they are like him and a group of people, a group of black men, go to get revenge on the police station.
What?
And so I saw a lot of people posting it and talking about how they can't wait to see it. And so I was like, okay, what is this about? You know, it has a Nate Parker, the guy
who did Birth of a Nation.
Birth of a Nation. Mm-hmm. He was in The Great Debaters.
Yeah.
And I think he's in one other movie that I can't think of at the moment. Great actor. And I saw him as like the front of the cover of the trailer. I was like, oh, this is probably gonna be good. So I watched the trailer myself. Okay. So personally,
give it to me straight.
Me personally, I have written off all these black trauma entertainment.
I'm sick of it.
It's
so triggering.
So tired of movies about black people being centered around black trauma.
It's so triggering.
Yes, like, and I get it. Like, watching the trailer, I was like, okay, this looks exciting, looks entertaining to a certain degree, but it's still the same thing that I keep seeing. It's always centered around black struggle.
Let me tell you something. This is why I miss Love and Basketball. This is why I miss Best Man, The Wood, Brown Sugar. This is what Inkwell. This is why I miss movies like that, because it showed black people in a different kind of way. Like nowadays, everything is somebody got killed by police. Black Lives Matter in some sort of way. Everything is the same. Slavery. Everything is the same thing. And it's like, ain't y'all tired? Well, we shouldn't be tired. We not. No. Ain't y'all tired of being in a constant state of battle? Yes. Like at some point we had to decompress. It is not healthy to be on a constant state of alertness. That's not even good for you if you're trying to be battle ready, if that's your mentality or your mindset, that's not even good for you. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? No soldier just stays in soldier mode all day, never takes a nap.
Yeah.
No soldier is doing that. Yeah. You have to decompress so that you can be some sort of good for whatever it is that you're trying to accomplish. Mm-hmm. Because
yeah,
I can't.
Now I know people who will say like, well, these stories need to be told because our children and we need to know these stories.
You know what also needs to be told? I feel like there's nothing wrong with telling this story, but I feel like you should not tell this story unless you're going to tell, like, these stories should come out after there has been a black version of every other genre before we come back to this one again. You know what I mean? Okay. I gave you a good example. Netflix did a really good job with this. I think it was either this year or last year. They put out a black all black cast show. It did have some Black Lives Matter stuff in it.
Like current event stuff.
You know what I mean? Of course, it's like everything has to have it in there now. But what I did like about it was, it showed some other aspects of it. It wasn't just the surviving of the trauma aspect of it. It was a movie called See You Tomorrow. Okay. And it was about two little kids, well, three kids ultimately, but two black kids, black girl and black boy, who were science geniuses. You know what I mean? The scientist in me, I love this movie. Science geniuses, and they were like on track to get like scholarship and go to college and all this other thing, and they created a machine to time travel.
Okay.
And so, spoiler alert, sorry guys. So,
is this the movie Wrinkle Before Time or something?
No,
I didn't see that.
That's a good movie too.
I need to see that.
So this one, Wrinkle in Time, is actually, it's more metaphysical.
Okay.
And it's more it's a Disney situation. Okay. This right here. So what happened was they were just doing a science experiment and actually time traveled. and when they time traveled, somebody got killed by the police. Okay, so and the person who got killed by the police was spoiler alert. Tell you again, the person who got killed by the police was the brother of the main character. So she spent time, kept trying to go back to switch it around and change, this, and back to the future.
Sounds like a butterfly effect or something.
Yeah, and butterfly effect, Back to the Future, every time you try to change the timeline, it affects something else. And it was cool because I could deal with that, because even though it had that situation, like that was kind of the motive that she had, but it showed the science, which I thought was dope. Because when was the last time you seen a black movie about kids being great scientists?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I feel like we always say these stories need to be told. Yes, and other stories need to be told too. Black love needs to be told. Black scientists need to be told. Black friendship needs to be told. Black parenting needs to be. It's all kinds of stories that need to be told outside of the police shooting us. Yeah. That story is not the only one that needs to be told.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
it's such a polarizing effect to go into a movie theater or a movie situation, even if it's at home. You are immersing yourself with all of your senses into something. Yeah. So when we talk about, sorry guys, in the Bible it says guard your gates to your soul. So your eye gate, your ear gate, and your mouth gate. You're consuming everything that is on that screen at one time. Yeah. And that's why you feel so heavy afterwards, because you're consuming all that in your soul.
You're connected to it.
Right. And it's so much, and it's just like,
that's why
I don't know if I want to do that all the time. I mean, this is real life for me already.
Yeah, that's why I've never to this day, and I probably never will. I never watched that When They See Us documentary.
I still haven't seen it either. I can't do it.
I don't want no parts of that. I understand it's great, and I understand it was a great performance, and the people won awards off of it. I never want to watch that, because I know how I'm going to feel as I'm watching it.
And it's real life.
It's real life.
I want to see it.
Especially when you have children. Like, I have young boys, and so to see that, I immediately will put myself in that scenario, and it'll hurt me. Mm-hmm. Why do I want to sit down and do that to myself?
It's that, but that goes back to what we were talking about at the beginning. It goes back to that wanting to be in a constant state of chaos and trauma.
I don't want that. I would rather see movies about black people pre-slavery. I want to know like what it was like in Africa or wherever else we were from, or here, like the Aboriginal black people. Like, what was life like that? Like, tell me some stories.
Why are we not telling that story?
Yeah,
those stories.
What about those stories? You always hear about, I think we had this conversation about, a lot of black people will be like, I have, Native American in my family or Indian in my family. Like, what about a love story between an African and a Native American?
Yeah, because that's like, I'm Aboriginal.
Yeah.
So that's an amazing idea. So it's just like, I don't understand it. Like, I guess just me personally on a spiritual level, I don't understand why people want to put themselves in so much trauma at all times, because life on a day-to-day basis is trauma. For us. We are currently in a state of a spiritual war right now. So why indoctrinate yourself in any more than what you're already dealing with? Why not decompress with a funny movie or some a display of love or a display of motherhood or fatherhood or beautiful friendship or a story about a triumph, a team that, like a Remember the Titans or a Great Debaters or Pride or something like that. Like, why not show some of that?
Right.
Let me tell you something. I watch the same old movies over and over again because I can't with
That's
that.
That's probably why I watched a lot of Marvel movies. That's like the farthest away from life.
Did you see the announcements?
I watched the presentation. I saw all the trailers that they had. I was very excited. I was like, I cannot wait for 2021.
Did you see Chip and Dale?
No, I didn't watch all of it. I skimmed through stuff. I watched a little bit of the Star Wars presentation.
Yes.
And then I kind of skipped through the Disney animation stuff, and then I went to the Marvel stuff.
Yes.
So I got to sit down and watch it all.
I'm so excited.
So Chip and Dale, like live action?
Chip and Dale, and then you got Iron Man has got a successor.
Yeah, Riri Williams,
Yes.
Ironheart. Yeah. And I have those comic books. I got them for my daughter. I can't wait to tell her about it. And they even showed the girl that they're casting for her.
Yes.
Because I was afraid they were going to try to make Shuri from Black Panther.
But I think that
Ironheart.
I think they're doing her for Black Panther.
Because they did say they were not going to recast the role of Chadwick or like T'Challa. And so they're going to continue with other characters. I'm like, okay, great.
Because that makes the most sense.
Because Shuri in the comics became Black Panther too.
And it makes the most sense logically.
Yeah.
Because when you think about it, the mantle goes to the next person that is in royalty. She's the next person in royalty, so it naturally goes to her. If something happens to her brother, then she would take up the mantle, just like when something happened to T'Chaka. T'Challa took up the mantle, and then they had to do the ceremony to go ahead and officially king him or put him as the king. It would be the same situation for Shuri.
Right. I would love to see like what that looks like.
I would love to see how they do that and how they honor him and how they memorialize him in that type of way. I would love to see that. I wonder if they have any sort of left behind scenes or whatnot that they can interject into that. Because,
I wonder how they're going to do that.
Because you know that there's the ancestral realm.
Yeah.
But at the same time, you also know that Killmonger destroyed it.
The herbs. Mm-hmm. But she'll probably find some way to bring it back.
And we still don't know if Killmonger is dead.
Yeah, they talked about the idea of bringing him back, but I don't know why you would. I mean, I don't know why you would continue that story. I feel like that was great, and it just stay there for the purpose. Like his story was meant to bring Wakanda out of the shadows. Mm-hmm. I feel like, I mean, you can always create another stuff, but I would love to see Shuri go, get the herb and have to do the whole red sand burial thing, and then you see the last conversation she has with Chadwick Boseman.
Yeah.
And they do like some kind of, how they do like the CGI?
Yes.
And have him like...
Or like piece together words from other movies to kind of try to like...
Because they've done it with Star Wars where they brought like people who had passed away.
Right.
If they do that,
I'm crying.
I'll probably
crying
cry.
in there. I'll probably cry. I already know I'm going to cry. I already know. I
might get a little teary-eyed.
I'm going to. I have no shame. I'm gonna cry. I'm a straight cry. Like I feel that people don't understand. There's so much symbolism in the ancestral realm, being Aboriginal and even African traditions. Understanding the lineage and the link to your ancestors.
Yeah, I felt so connected to Black Panther.
Man, they did such a fabulous job with that movie. I can't even. It's the saddest thing in the world that they didn't just continue. They almost should have just, I don't know if they knew he was sick. The selfish person in me wanted them been like, oh, y'all should have just put everything else on hold and just focus on making as many movies with him as you possibly can, or at least shooting the scenes with him that you possibly can. That's the selfish person in me, because there can never be another person to play that role. The way, that's like asking for another Tupac. It's never going to happen.
I felt different about it in the beginning because I feel like T'Challa in the comics, he had such a rich story that I wanted to see more. You
mean T'Challa or T'Chaka?
T'Challa, the character that Chadwick Boseman played. Yeah. In the comics, he had such a long history, especially when him and Storm were married.
But I feel like they were gonna go there.
Yeah,
but that's why I'm like,
since they're not recasting that means that character is gone.
Yeah, because you know, they couldn't go there because at the time when they shot it, who was it? Fox
still owned the rights to X-Men.
Yeah, still own the rights to X-Men, but now they don't. Yeah. So it opened up that possibility of that storyline. I feel like that's
they might have been going.
I feel like that was gonna happen. And it was a natural progression just because of like the whole conflict with him and what's my girl? Lupita Young. What's her what was her name in the movie? I never
Nakia.
Nakia. And that whole him wanting to find that mate and her kind of that whole thing. I saw that playing out. I'm like, they can easily play this whole thing and introduce Storm easily by this because it was there were so many ways it could have been done. They still had the whole thing with M'Baku. There was so much that could have been done with M'Baku still. M'Baku. Like there's just so much. So, with that being said, it's just
oh man.
It's so sad.
Well, it's time for that recap from last week.
Yes. Okay, so
affirmation.
Last week's affirmations were, I am enough and I deserve nice things. I can accomplish anything if I'm willing to try, apply, and execute. Even a no is in my benefit. All things are in alignment with my highest good.
So which one of those resonated for you this week?
Listen.
Or which one? You said before, like all three of them resonate with you.
Yeah, I took all of these three and combined them together like a Mighty Morphin Power Ranger. And that was how I was able to accomplish my amazing task.
Came together like Voltron.
Yeah, like I had to tell myself that I am enough and I deserve nice things so that I wouldn't, go back into the shadows and just not confront what needed to be confronted. And then even a no is in my benefit. All things are in alignment with my highest good. So understanding, when I talk to Spirit and saying, hey, don't you want me to have this? And Spirit's like, no. And I'm like, damn, like, okay, well, do you want me to have this? And Spirit's like, that's the same thing. No. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And that, taking that and understanding that this is a no right now for me and understanding it's for my highest good was good for me also. And then I can accomplish anything if I'm willing to try, apply, and execute. That was me saying, okay, I'm willing to try it Spirit's way. I'm going to apply what Spirit is asking me to do. And I'm going to execute, go pull the trigger, and I'm going to accomplish it by doing these things. So all three of these things worked very well for me this week.
I resonated with the last one where you said even a no is in my benefit because all things are in alignment with my highest good. Mm-hmm. And I thought about just things that think about in your life and you wonder like, why can't I make this decision, or why did this not happen for me? And especially like with what things I've been dealing with during the last few weeks of wanting to make certain decisions and feeling as though I couldn't. Like I want to make the decision, but it's like, no, I can't make the decision because it's not time. It's not time for that yet. And so understanding that it benefits me to have a no. Like sometimes, like, I deal with my kids. Like sometimes I tell them no, not because I'm trying to be mean to them, but now I'm trying to tell them no because either you're not ready yet or it's just not good for you. Mm-hmm. And so trust me when I say no. And so I think that's some things that I have to do with my creator and I call God, is when he gives me a no, is understanding. First is realizing whether or not he's telling me no. I have to sit and think, process that and like, okay, what are you actually telling me? Like, are you telling me no, or is it just I'm in my own head right now? And that's the challenge for me a lot of times. Mm-hmm. Is it divine? What is it? And so sometimes I have to keep talking. I have to keep asking the question of, okay, this is what I'm dealing with. This is what I'm dealing with. This is what I want to do. And then eventually it all comes to me. Versus, okay, it's just me not even listening for him and just trying to do stuff on my own. And so like I said, whether it's that or myself, sometimes telling myself no is really helpful in me being able to process things the right way and ultimately ending up the way that it needs to end up. Yeah. It's having the faith to be like, everything is going to work out the way it's going to work out.
Right.
And when we get to that point, then that's where we'll be.
Yeah.
And if if a person, if a person, like if a decision has to be made and you're not yet that place where you can make that decision, and sometimes you just got to be like, okay, well, hey, I just can't make it right now.
Absolutely.
And whatever happens, happens.
Absolutely.
You know, and I think being reminded of that is a good thing. You know, like I said, the highest good is what works out for you.
Mm-hmm. You know? And what is in alignment with your ultimate goal and purpose in life. A lot of times we want to make decisions because we can only see right in front of our noses. We can't see that down the road on this path, there's a gigantic ditch that leads to nowhere. And spirit or God is trying to tell you, no, that's not the right turn. And you're like, but it's beautiful flowers over here. And Spirit's like, I understand that, but that's not the right turn for you.
True.
And you may still, because you have free will, you may still choose to go down there, but eventually you're going to come to a point to where you realize, oh, this is a gigantic ditch. This is why Spirit was telling me no.
This kind of
and then you have to turn around and walk all the way back to that juncture, and then Spirit's sitting there like,
right.
At some point you got to trust that I'm not going to lead you anywhere that you're not saying that you want to go. One thing that I feel like whoever your divine higher power is, you are a co-creator with the divine. So the divine is creating whatever it is that you're asking for, but giving it to you in a form that is not going to hurt you.
Yeah.
So like if your child says, I want sugar, you're not going to give your child a bowl of sugar. That will hurt your child. You know what I mean? But you may give them a piece of candy in a certain quantity that you feel like they can take. You know what I mean? Or that is good for them. They may not like the fact that you're giving them a piece of candy, but that's not, you know down the line, if I give you a bowl of sugar, you're going to be sick.
Yeah. It kind of reminds me, I was having a conversation with my daughter the other day when we were driving, and I always teach her about like being defensive. Like, you want to make sure you're being observant to the conditions around you, because you can't depend on the car in front of you to tell you where you're going.
Man, no.
You know, you can't just look. You got to look ahead. So I'm on the highway, and I see a bunch of red lights up ahead. It's miles ahead, but I can see them. I say, okay, Taylor, it's a lot of cars up there. There must be a traffic jam somewhere. I can see flashing lights, which means there's an emergency. What do you think I should do? Should I keep going and see what happens? Or should I make a detour and say, okay, I see what's up ahead. I'm going to go this way.
Right.
And sometimes you have to make those decisions. You have to be looking past where you're currently at so that you can make the best decision for where you're at now.
And if you can't look past where you're currently at and you ask God, then you have to have some sort of relationship with God to where you can trust that God's sight is a little
slow
bit.
Down.
Yeah, and that slow down and let God look for you. Because sometimes God's sight is a little bit farther and more keen than yours.
Exactly.
I'm saying sometimes, like it ain't always, but
Yeah.
sometimes for whoever, I don't want to offend nobody. But God's sight is a little more keen and further, can reach a lot further than yours can sometimes. So if you can't see ahead, but if you can't see ahead, that's okay. Lean on something that can see, or understand that where there's smoke, there's always fire. A lot of people want to say, "Oh, where it's smoke, it's not fire. They just vaping." No, where there's smoke, there's fire. Because even that vape creates some sort of fire. It's a modified fire. It's a disguised fire.
Yeah. It's coming from somewhere, though.
But it's a fire nonetheless.
Yeah.
So when you see signs, pay attention.
Yeah. So you talked about our journal from last week. So our journaling prompt for you all who were there and who weren't there, just a reminder, is what do you believe about yourself? Where did this belief come from? Is it what you want to believe? And what do you want to believe about yourself? And then the last question was, what messages can you pour into yourself this week? So I thought about that a lot myself, about just kind of the messages that play in my head throughout my day or my life in general. And I will say I have a mixture of things that I believe about myself. I believe that I'm amazing. I believe that I'm smart. I believe that I'm intelligent. I'm nurturing. I am loyal. I'm committed. I am honest. I am hard worker. All that stuff. But I also, on the flip side, I also sometimes believe that I'm not good enough. And the question of where the belief come from, I think the positive beliefs about myself came from the influential people in my life, like my mother's growing up, and some of my cousins. Like, I was always encouraged and told how smart and how amazing that I was, and how I was going to be somebody someday, and how I was always praised and given encouragement. But the one area of my life that I didn't necessarily get the the success from was probably the relationship I had with my father. Because my father was he was really not present, but when he was present, he wasn't present, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And so I never, typical dads, and not typical, because every dad wasn't like that, but, in his era, dealing with the traumas that he endured in his childhood and the childhood of his father, my dad was never the one to show emotion. He was never one to tell me that he was proud of me. He never told me he loved me, stuff like that. And so I think when I was younger, I was getting it from everywhere else. It was like, it was this one place that I couldn't get it from, and I would work hard to get it. I would do well in school. I would do well organized activities, and I would get all these awards and stuff, and I would get recognized for these things. And it's like I could never crack them. It's like I can't get, like, he won't give it to me. And I think myself, that made me feel like, okay, I'm not good enough because I cannot get my dad's validation.
Man.
And I think a lot of people deal with that or have dealt with that with maybe another parent or someone
or a
person in their life. And so because of that, it made me feel like I wasn't good enough. And so obviously I want to believe the opposite. And so what message do I pour into myself? So one thing, as a therapist, a lot of times when I'm meeting new clients, I get a little nervous, like, oh man, what if I'm not the right fit? What if, what if I suck? I have those thoughts that have in my head sometimes. Syndrome. Yeah, like sometimes I do have that imposter syndrome. And so what I'll do is I like to use mirror talk. Okay. And with mirror talk, I just basically go stand in the mirror and I just talk to myself. And my message I always tell myself is, Tony, you are the best man for the job.
Come on, affirmations.
And the world will be much better because you are in it.
Come on, affirmations.
And I have to tell myself that, like, whatever's going to happen is going to happen. They're here for a reason, and they were blessed to be with you for that reason.
Everything happens by design.
Yes, and so you're going to do just fine. I tell myself that. And there's a level of weight that's lifted off my shoulder because I think telling yourself that and also seeing yourself say that, you feel a deeper connection to yourself.
That's how affirmations work.
Yeah. And so when I'm saying that in the mirror, seeing myself, I think the visual
pouring into yourself.
Yeah, it feels as though it's not me because I'm looking at someone else.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that was a very eye-opening journal prompt for myself, and it just kind of came out of nowhere too. So, yeah. What about you?
Okay, so how did I look at this journal prompt? What do you believe about yourself? I believe that I am a kind, loving soul that has a tendency to overthink things.
Okay.
And then the next question was, where did this belief come from? I had to see myself and confront notions that were set on me to arrive to this conclusion. So, like, I believe that this belief about myself came from me confronting stereotypes that were put on me throughout childhood about who I am as a person. I spent a lot of time, accepting people's perspective of me,
Perceptive.
perspective of me, as a child, instead of creating my own.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So I became a culmination of everyone's thoughts.
Okay.
And by the time that I grew into my young adulthood, it was a hodgepodge of things that didn't necessarily always fit together. So I didn't fully feel like I knew who I was or what I was. And I didn't feel connected to the description of who I was. I felt like the things that people would say about me, I didn't feel that inside of me at all. I didn't feel like, yeah, that's who I am. Like, I didn't feel that. So I had to confront that, and I had to confront, like, why do I not feel connected to what people say that I am? And why did I accept those things? You know what I mean? Why didn't I say, no, that's not who I am? You know what I mean? So I had to take some time and confront those notions. And then once I confronted those notions that other people said, then I came to the conclusion that I am a kind, loving soul. That's who I really am. And I do have a tendency to overthink things. And that's how I ended up where I was in the first place, by overthinking people's thoughts, wanting people to see me as a kind person and not tell them, no, that's not who I am. I'm just, okay, well, that's their perception. Everyone has the right to their perception. Instead of saying, I'm sorry that that's the way that you perceive me. Maybe I need to alter how I'm presenting myself, but that is not who I am. And maybe we need to interact in a different way so that you can get a full understanding of who I truly am, you know?
Wow.
So I had to go through that. Then third thing, is it what you want to believe? I said yes, but I don't want to be ashamed of wanting this. So I do want to believe that, yes, I'm a kind soul, I'm a loving soul, and I have a tendency to overthink things, but I don't want to be ashamed of that. Like, a lot of times I feel ashamed of it, of being a kind person. And it's for the weirdest reasons, like, because a lot of things that I do in my life denotes leadership or strength in some sort of way, like me being a football player and things like that. And people have a tendency to have negative connotations to kind people.
Okay.
And and a lot of times I feel ashamed by admitting this is who I really am. Like, this is not just something I'm being for this moment of time. Like, this is just who I am. I am just a genuinely nice person. I like to do nice things for people. I like to pour into people. I like to give people compliments. I like to do this thing. I don't want to feel like a sap or a sucker or a idiot or I don't know, for being who I really am. Because I feel like there's so many things tied around that. You know what I mean? Like, if somebody's being super nice, or if somebody is there to always give to you, then, look at them, they're a sucker. Or, oh, look, yeah, I'm getting over. And it's like, no, but you're not getting over. Like, I wanted to give this to you. Right. You know what I mean?
Whether you didn't swindle me.
You didn't swindle me. Like,
yeah.
And that's what I think kind of irritates me, because people be like, yeah,
and then you be like, well, maybe I need to pull back, and you be like, you can't even be your authentic self.
That's why I said I don't want to be ashamed of it, because I find myself doing that, because I know when people think that they're getting over on me, and I'm like, bro, you're not, though. Like, everything that I give out to a person is something that is from my overflow. It is something that I was willingly ready to give to you, whether you wanted me to or not. I'm willingly ready to give this. If it's not going to go to you, it's going to go to someone else. I'm going to give it out for me, right, because it is extra. You know what I mean? So when people do this whole song and dance, like, yeah, I got over, it just really, it's just like, but why though?
Yeah.
But why?
And then like you said, you didn't get over. You actually made it worse, because now you're not even you don't even have the ability to accept what I gave you.
Yeah, because it's like, but why though? Like,
You don't
why
even
are
see
we
the
doing
blessing in that. Yeah.
That's like, I want to not. It's like I want to believe that about myself because that's who I am, but I don't want. I want to get rid of that shame. You know what I mean, for believing that about myself, or that stigma that is attached to the negative connotation of. I want to completely eradicate that from my mind. You know what I mean? Even though I know this is what people think or whatever, I want that to not bother me.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? The next question was, what do you want to believe about yourself? I said, I want to believe that I am comfortable and confident in each choice that I choose to create and cultivate the best version of me.
Okay.
And I feel that goes into what I was saying about that. Like, I feel like I make these choices because they're edifying who I am and they're building up my character. But then I don't sometimes feel as confident because people be trash.
Yeah, people
be trash sometimes. They be straight trash. You be so sweet. I put up a meme sometime this last week and it was like, y'all straight up ruin good people and they get mad when the person reacts.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, why though? Why be trash though? Like, go be trash at Waste Management. Don't be trash over here.
Yeah.
Bruh, this is not the place to be trash. Like, I don't get it. And yeah,
That's
so
one thing I learned in my own therapy was the difference between being nice and being kind.
yeah.
And you talked about like nice is this very superficial,
Yes, it is.
very on the surface, you're sacrificing your own happiness for the happiness of other people. Whereas being kind means that you both get something out of the deal.
Absolutely. That's why I said I'm a kind, loving soul.
Like, so I can be kind and still set these boundaries with you.
I'm definitely got those.
If I say, it's like, say for instance, somebody is being nice. For example, somebody wants to borrow your car, right?
Yeah.
Being nice would be, okay, here, take the car. You need
and you know you don't want to give it to them.
Yeah, you know you don't want to give it to them. You know you need it. You know you can't afford for them to mess it up. But because they want it, you're going to give it to them. But being kind is, okay, hey, I'm not giving you my car, but hey, what if I can just take you to work the next day? I can take you. Maybe I can pick you up, but that's both best I can do.
That's all I got
now,
for you.
do I want to wake up and take you to work? No. Hell no, I don't want to.
I want to sleep.
But in order to I'll sacrifice a little bit of what I need to give you a little bit of what you want.
Absolutely.
And that is what kindness is. And so trying to keep that as my focus, helps me to deal with people like that. Mm-hmm. Because I know that, okay, I know I'm a kind person. I'm going to do what I feel is right, but I'm not going to let you get everything that you want.
Right.
Because if I do that, I'm not going to feel good about myself.
That's true.
And I want to feel good about myself at the end of the day. I don't want
at
to feel
the
like,
end
dang,
of the
people
day.
using me.
For real, because that's the worst.
Yeah.
That's the absolute worst.
Nobody wants to feel used.
Nobody
I
does. I don't know why y'all think people do. Y'all out here trash can, Waste Management. But anyway, the last thing is, what messages can you pour into yourself this week? So the messages that I have was, I am whole, I am growing, and I am becoming everything my soul desires to become. And that was my journal prompt.
Hey, that was good. I like that.
Yay.
So today we are going to talk a little bit about, the plight, the struggle, the success of
the roller coaster.
The roller coaster of the first generation college student.
Man. Definitely been on this train, boy.
Now, talking to some people, I understand that people have a different viewpoint of what a first generation college student is. One thing that I've heard was a person who is the first of their family or one of the first of their family to seek and obtain a post high school education. Mm-hmm. Some people view it as, okay, it's a person who has not. So it's a person who's in a family that has not set the precedent of college as an option or a necessity.
And then some people view it as first in their immediate family.
In their immediate family. So Whatever direction that you want to go in,
All of this applies to
all
you.
this applies to you. And so that kind of goes through like our definition of what we mean when we say first generation college student. So I guess my first question is, like we talk about Black people. Do you feel like college is something that is encouraged in the Black family?
I feel like it's expected a lot of times in a Black family.
College is expected.
I feel like it is, and a lot of I'll put it to you from this perspective.
Okay.
I feel like college is expected from girls, oftentimes.
Okay. For first generation college student?
Yes.
Oh wow. Okay.
For me, you know what I mean. It was thinking about the sacrifice and everything. Me going to college, I had a lot riding on my shoulders. I went because I had 3.5, we'll just say 4 generations of 4 generations of something to break.
Okay.
For me. So my great grandmother, who is still living, she 96.
96.
Out here.
Hey, grandma, friend of the podcast.
That's right. Hey, Big Mom. She out here still doing it. You know what I mean? She didn't, obviously, she was a sharecropper. She picked cotton, like she lived that life.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So there's that. Then I had my grandmother also, who lived through her share of all of the BS and civil rights and all that. So there's that. Then I had my mom, who was born in the 60s, and she had her share of stuff, and she was supposed to be the first one to go to college and ended up pregnant with my older sister and had to drop out.
Out of college?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And then you had my sister, my older sister that my mom got pregnant with. She was on her way to go to college the summer before, right after graduating, and got pregnant and didn't get a chance to go. So I was like, you can do this. Like, somebody got to do it. So for me, I felt like I was doing it for all of them. You know what I mean?
Like
I was doing it for myself, but I was doing it for all of them too. Just like we're all doing this. We're all making it. We're all crossing.
So you had that pressure, that expectation, because everyone before you didn't for different reasons,
and I'm
never
not
taken it.
Yeah, and I'm not saying like they was like, you better do this. Like it was almost like
it's like an internalized pressure.
Yeah, it was like a understood of look at what is paved for you. Like a lot of people are not blessed like I do to say that they have a great grandmother that is still here. They can tell them stories about slavery. You know what I mean? Like, that's a whole different point of view. You know what I mean? When you go from that to this and you have opportunities, you just have a different level of gratitude about things and a different level of appreciation for options.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So when you make your choices, and because you still have the right to choose whatever you want,
True.
but when you make your choices, it gives you more understanding of what the choices could possibly mean for you, or not mean for you, or mean for others. So for me, it was a big deal to just go and to finish.
What do you think about the people who do? It sounds like you had a huge lineage of women in your family who were there. What about the people who don't have that? Who are first generation college students or potential first generation college students, and they don't have that pressure of, okay, nobody went to college. Like, you have people that are not really talking about college. Like, what do you think about those kids?
I think those kids are awesome. And I think that they should do whatever it is in their heart to do. And even if your family does not necessarily see the wonderfulness of college, I feel like you should do it anyway. Because
how do you think they get the idea of going to college when it's not encouraged?
I feel that it comes from them figuring out who they are
Okay.
as a person. You know what I mean? As you go throughout life and you decide what you like, what you don't like, the things you're interested in, the questions that you ask yourself as you lay in the bed at night about what you want to do, why you're here, what your purpose is, what you want to contribute to the world, all those things. Once you start answering those questions for yourself, you start thinking about those when you're a
Yeah.
little kid. Then once you start answering those questions for yourself, then you start going into a practical research about how is it can I make this a reality for myself. And sometimes that entails going to college. Sometimes it doesn't. Everyone doesn't have to go to college. But sometimes it entails for you to go to college to obtain whatever it is that you need to obtain in order for you to feel like you're getting closer to the person that you are meant to be. And if that is who you are, go for it. Go for it in every way. Whatever is needed for you to get that degree, money, whatever is needed, it will be there for you. Trust me. It'll be there for you. I'm telling you, I went to college without a dime to my name. Family did not save a damn dollar for me to go to school. Okay?
Yeah.
Because they just wasn't like, what are we talking about? Who's doing this? Nobody was doing it. So
Right.
of course there's nothing there because nobody's doing this.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
They're trying to survive. Like,
But
you
I
know-
did what I had to do. Oh, baby, I'm fucking paying for it now.
Oh,
but I
look,
did what I had
I
to
tell
do.
them loans is never getting paid off. I don't even know why y'all
I'm
keep calling
still
me.
in school right now.
I can relate to you on like the pressure thing because I think in my family, I'm a first generation college student. My mom, my great grandmother, Mississippi, she probably was a sharecropper. I don't know much about that life, but she was in Mississippi. Then my grandmother, born during, lived during the civil rights era. And then my mom, she did not go to college. She, after high school, her and my father got married, and my dad was in the military. And so they went off. She went off with him. And so she tried her hand at going for nursing school, but it just never materialized. And so growing up, my mother always pushed for me to do well in academics and to make sure that I was going to college. And so the people in my life were always telling, okay, you're going to go to college and you're going to do this. You're going to be a doctor and you're going to play and I added, I wanted to play NFL. That was my thing. So I wanted to be a doctor and I wanted to play NFL. And so that carried me all the way through high school. Now, I had a lot of encouragement. People would always encourage me to say, hey, he's going to go to college one day. And so I feel like I didn't feel like I was under pressure. I just automatically knew that I was going to college. It wasn't no pressure about it. And I think for my mom, growing up,
So it was almost what's the word?
Like an expectation.
No, not implanted, but established in who you were.
Yeah, I guess so. Like early, it was an early. I remember elementary school when it was like you're going to college, and so from there I was like, okay, I'm going to college, right?
That's dope. I wonder how I would have did if I had that mindset. If I had that.
I don't know. I never had any doubt I was not going to college. Now, I will say when I got to high school and it came close to going to college, I had no idea how to get there. I knew I wanted to go, but I was like, okay, how do you get to college?
How do you get to
And
Sesame
I didn't
Street?
necessarily have a school counselor at the time that was available or willing to help me get there. And so being a first generation college student, that's one of the struggles I had was I didn't have anybody to go to show me how to get there. I think that's one of the plights of a first generation college student. They don't have any resources from their family that can help them get to where they're trying to get to. And so you have to rely on help from other people. I know my ex-girlfriend's mom was huge. She was a huge benefit to me getting to college. She's the one who told me about FAFSA. She's the one who told me about sending in your college applications. I had my football coaches, and so they would get colleges to recruit me. And so the college would tell me what I needed to do, in order to get recruited so I can play for their university. Now my school counselor wasn't the best. I don't even remember seeing her until I think well into the end of the school year. And she came and was like, okay, what are you doing after high school? I was like, dang, you late. You should have been talking to me last year.
Pretty much.
But I had a college career specialist.
We had the same experience.
At the time, I thought she was a school counselor, but it was funny because when I was in grad school, she was in one of my classes, and I just looked at her like, what are you doing here? You're already a counselor. She was like, no, I was never a counselor. I was the college career specialist. So she was like a support staff in the school. I was like, I didn't know that. And like she was the reason I went to school, going to college. Miss Hutchinson, Miss Ivy Hutchinson, friend of the podcast.
I don't think I got to spend time with her.
She is so cool. I still talk to her to this day.
I know that counselor. Let me shut up. Because you
Miss
already know
Hutchinson,
how I feel about that.
She sat in the office with me after school almost every other day, like trying to game plan on how I was going to get to college. So
yeah, me and Tony went to the same school, same year. So it's the reason we are not talking about this counselor.
We are not talking about. I don't know.
I
don't know what she was doing. I don't know what was going on in her life at the time.
She was trying to get her check.
Yeah, I guess
I'm
so.
telling you, you know, as a kid you don't understand it, but as an adult now, when we do this week to week thing, she was waiting on the 15th and the 30th. That's it.
And then like seeing, I think also going to a school where it was predominantly white, like white kids were going to college. And so in a way I felt like, well, y'all ain't leaving me behind.
Yep.
I'm going to college
I told you that counselor show told me, you want to go to a college or a university, maybe you should try a community college. First of all, lady, I got decent grades. I don't know what you're talking about.
Wow.
Yeah, I was like...
And my GPA was pretty high. It wasn't like the high. It wasn't valedictorian high, but I was at a 3.75
But you
in high school.
know, I think it was because I was so I didn't know, like you said, I didn't know nothing about college. So I didn't know. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So when I came in there and I was like, I want to go to college. she was like, okay, well, where you want to go? I don't know, to college. You a kid. You like, I don't know, college. That's where I want to go. What kind of...
Right.
And she like, well, maybe you should just try a community college. I'm like, bro, you could have gave me better advice than that. Right. You could have been like, okay, here are your options. You could go, there are things called HBCUs. There are things called... You could have said something. She basically was like, well, here,
this application for McDonald's.
She like, this one... Here, job, nigga. I was like, damn. But you know, that was the best thing for me at the time because it put fire under my ass. And it made me say, oh, I'm finna show you.
Right.
Because the whole reason why I'm going is because there's this notion that I can't. I hate for a person to tell me I can't do something. I can't stand it. I cannot stand it.
Yeah, I can understand that.
Don't tell me what I can't do. I'll show you what I can.
Right. And
then I'll do it twice and take pictures.
Oh, look at you.
For real.
Oh, wait, talking shit then? Okay.
I'm serious. I'm so for serious.
Put that on a t-shirt.
Ask me about it. I'm going to do it twice and take pictures.
Oh, man. Yeah, but that's definitely something I thought about with the first generation college students. What you thought? What are some of your thoughts?
So, first question that I have for the first generation college students is, we kind of answer it, did you feel pressure? The second question was, do you feel that your completion or failure of college was a shared experience?
Oh, for me, yes. When I graduated, I swear, like, first of all, graduated from high school, so in my family, it was always this fear. And I think as a black boy, there was always this stigma of, like, you know, at the time there was this thing of, you know, black boys not making it to the age of 21 or something like that. Or I forgot the age, but it was like they won't live past a certain age because of, you know, gun violence, of going to jail or being lost to the streets. And so I had that going against me. I also had, and when I say going against me, I wasn't involved in those type of things, but that was a fear that I was having to fight against, you know. And also being a first generation college student, not really having anyone who could teach me how to get there. And then my mother always had this thing is don't have any kids before you graduate, because a lot of people in my family was having kids at early ages, and so I had all of these things that my mom was like, please, like just it was like this. It's like a landmine. Like, okay, don't step. Like, I just need you to get there without stepping on any one of these landmines. And so when I graduated from high school, I swear it was like, I made it. Yeah, this was high school. Graduating from high school, it was like a joyous occasion in my family, because like Dion made it. You know, that's what they call me in my family, Dion. Dion made it. And so then going to college, it was just like, we out here now.
Here we go.
Yeah.
Again.
So when I graduated from college, I felt like this was it was such a big accomplishment because I was like, my mom was able to see me graduate from college.
Did you feel like you were walking across the stage by yourself, or did you feel like your mom was literally walking with you?
I felt like my mom was, because me personally, I didn't really care.
It didn't matter
about
as much. That's me too.
Graduating.
That's me too.
I wanted to graduate because I knew that gave me the ability to go and work and make money and things like that, and provide for myself. But just walking across stage, I felt more that my mom was watching.
Let me tell you something. When I graduated, it was a very sad situation for me.
Okay.
My family doesn't really have a lot of money. So with me going to school in Alabama, none of my family was able to make it to the graduation. So I had my spiritual family that was there with me, my godmother and my godfather. They were the only two that I had at my graduation. Oh. They were like my parents when I was in Alabama. Mm-hmm. And at the time when I was graduating, my mom was in prison. So there was that. And then my father, he couldn't make it down either. My father, he only had the highest grade that he's completed was 8th grade was the completion, and then he did some high school. He never graduated from high school. So to walk across the stage, to be there before I walked across the stage and get a phone call from my mom and my dad, into hearing their voice, mm-hmm. that, a high school dropout and someone was currently in prison has a child that's walking across the stage and getting a bachelor's degree. Mm-hmm. That alone, I felt like I was carrying my parents on my shoulders. Really? I felt like I was carrying them over. I felt like I was carrying them over the finish line. I felt like they tried. They tried to make it as far as they possibly could with the tools that they had, mm-hmm. and that was everything for me. You know what I mean? So I'm sorry, y'all. Damn it. You got me crying.
It's okay.
Okay. It's okay. So that was everything for me, to be able to do that for my mom, to be able to give my mom something. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Even where she was, like, my baby just graduated.
Right.
That shit. I was like, I did that. Right. I did that. You know what I mean? We couldn't do much. Like, we don't have money and things like that, mm-hmm. but I could do that. Or I can give my dad, he was like, my baby graduated. My mm-hmm. baby ain't got no kids. My baby ain't out here strung out. Mm-hmm. My baby got a bachelor's degree. My mm-hmm. baby graduated. That was everything to me, because I know how much that meant to them. Like, not being able to finish educational milestones for them mm-hmm. was a deterrent in their lives. You know what I mean? That made them feel some sort of way. You know what I mean? My dad not finishing high school made him feel some sort of way.
Yeah.
My mom having to drop out of college because she got pregnant made her feel some sort of way. Yeah. So for me, their child to finish, it gave them a sense of, okay, we finished.
Yeah.
Even though we stepped back for our child, at least it wasn't in vain. Somebody finished.
Yeah.
So
it's almost like it validated them.
Right. Listen, I never change it for a world. I don't care if I never use my degree. I never change it.
Just think of all the stuff that goes into us as black kids graduating. Like, this is something to tell, all of our white listeners, and listeners from other ethnicities. When you're at graduation and you see these black families in these full celebration,
and they turned up,
just know,
understand, everybody,
there's a journey that took place for that family and that child to get where they are.
Stop thinking that it's just ghetto-ness, because it's not.
It's true trauma and perseverance and release that took place in order for that moment to happen for that family.
The tears that flow. I've seen, like you say, you grow up with stone cold father figures or male figures, you never see them cry. But in those moments, that's when you see it. You know what I mean? Because it's like hope. It's like hope, because everybody, we all grow up in a certain level. Like I talked about earlier, like you get a shitty spades hand, you got a bad level, but taking it up that next step is like, okay, you got a possibility for something better. At least I gave my child a possibility of something better. And for Black families, that's all we be wanting, man. Like just to know that I at least put my child in a better situation than what I had coming up.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's like, for me, being single and not having children yet, that's what pushes me to keep going as far as I possibly can. Because I know at some point, when it's my turn and I have children, I'm going to have to stop.
Yeah.
I'm not stop completely, but it's going to slow down, because my attention, my energy is going to be poured into the next generation. You know what I mean? And once that time comes, I want to be able to equip my child with as much as I possibly can, so I can be like, well, I didn't make it that far, but at least they did.
Yeah.
Look at that, you know? And if God willing, I'd be around to see it. You know what I mean? Like, I'm just saying. Yeah. Like, to be able to call my great-grandma, and tell her that I graduated, be able to come home and tell her I graduated, and for her to see that, Brad, I don't know what y'all talking about. Yeah. That was everything.
Yeah.
This somebody who picked cotton. I mean, pricked her fingers picking cotton, and I got to tell her that I graduated. Like, nobody can take that from me.
Yeah, I wish that my grandmother was still alive. She didn't get a chance to see me graduate from high school. She was alive at the time, but she just couldn't physically get there, and that was something that always used to hurt me. Is I remember the conversation I had with her about that. But it's interesting because when I got my master's degree, it was just like, it's like, okay, I got it. Like, it wasn't like I didn't have the same like. I feel like high school was way more of a celebration than when I got my master's degree.
Because for us,
it was like, just get that. If we get that, okay, we great. Everything else is a bonus, right? And then I never thought about getting a master's degree. That was never in the cards for me. It was just something that came up. I was like, oh, guess I should go back to school to do this. But I didn't like, graduating from undergrad was a big deal. Graduating from high school was an amazing deal. And graduating from grad school was just like, okay, I did it. I'm good. I did it. This is a great day. I really worked hard, and I'm now a professional.
Right. You know? And everybody's just like, eh.
Yeah, it was more so for me. It was like, okay, this is for me, so I can get somewhere in my career. But
like you were saying, it was almost like high school was for the entire family. College was for your parents or your mom. And I mean, undergrad was for your parents or for your mom. True. And then graduate school was for you.
What do you say to the people, the families, or the kids who are listening that are thinking about going to college and they want to go, their parents are trying to keep them close?
Nah, cuz.
We all know those families where they were like, no, my kids are not going nowhere far. They're going to be right here in Missouri. Listen. They better pick a school in St. Louis.
Don't do it. Don't do it.
What do you say to those?
I say no.
Why do you say that?
I say Mercy says no. These children, you got to let them go. Let them slip away. Just let them go. Mercy is saying no right now.
Why do you think that families do that?
Because I feel like they want to be able to touch you. They want to be able to be close to you. And put your hand. Because one, that, and then two, I feel it's a threefold thing. Okay. That they want to be close to you. Two, I feel like that it's foreign to them. Okay. You know what I mean? Like, that's not a thing that Black people really do. Send their kids off somewhere else. You know what I mean? So
it's like an anxiety thing.
Anxiety thing. And then the third thing, most kids that go away, tend to go south. Because that's where most HBCUs are.
Oh, okay. Not south as in like figuratively speaking. You're talking about south as in like regionally.
Yes.
Okay.
No, not like
they go out there and wild out.
No, like they tend to go south. Like southern states, and
Okay.
there's a lot of negative connotations around southern places. Like,
So funny about that because the South is probably where more black people are.
and let me tell you something. Me being a person who went to school, who I've lived in Georgia, I've lived in Alabama and Mississippi.
Georgia?
Yes, and let me tell you something. People been more racist in Missouri. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
It's been more racist here.
Yeah.
Like it's so, let me tell you, there's so many sweet old people there, and just sweet, kind people, period, in the South. They have such a southern disposition that just marries well with my personality. It just I just feel at home in it. I really do.
I don't think I've ever experienced that before.
Oh man, it's wonderful. Everyone speaks to you, complete strangers. Hello, everyone says hello.
That's how I kind of felt when I went out to college, and I went to college in Springfield, Missouri. Now, everyone has their own experiences. I'm only speaking from my experience, right? Because there's some racist shit that's happened in Springfield. They have a very, very racist history, very segregated town.
They got a very racist present.
Yes.
You say history like it's still not
it's still
persisting.
going on. It's still going on. But my experience down there, people were very nice.
Yeah.
Every time I went somewhere, people were very kind.
Let me ask you, do you think that is because you were an athlete at an SEC school?
Well, it wasn't SEC.
Well, do you think that was because you were an athlete?
I don't think so because people didn't necessarily always know I was an athlete. I think my energy that I give off.
I think your size kind of gives way to athlete.
Probably too. I am a big guy, big black man. Most people are not trying to approach me in a confrontational manner.
They ain't stupid.
I don't really give off that energy. I come to everybody with respect and calm and peace, and I'm approaching them with healing energy.
You know what? You know who you remind me of?
Who?
It's a Disney character.
Who, Baloo from?
No, but that's a good one. I like Baloo.
Because people make me out to be a teddy bear, which I'm fine with.
But you know who you remind me of?
Who?
You remember Mulan?
Yes.
You remember like the
It's probably one of my favorite movies.
You remember like the three guys?
Poe?
Yeah.
Well, the big one, he was like, beef,
he was so
chicken.
sweet. He was like, and they like when they would fight, he would just pick them up.
Come over, he would just walk over. He pick you all up.
Yes.
Just do this calmly.
Just know that I can mess you up if I wanted to.
Yeah, if I had to.
Now y'all need to
if
sit down
you take
and
me
act
there,
right.
it takes a lot to get me there, but it's been a few times in my life where I got there, and I don't like being in that place.
Yeah, you remind me of Poe.
Yeah, but yeah,
I like Poe.
But yeah, I had an experience in Springfield where it was very peaceful. So when I came back to St. Louis, it was the first time I was like, wow, people are mean as hell here.
Listen, when I came back to St. Louis, I said, has it always been this many sirens?
I definitely remember asking my family that question, like, man, people are always mean mugging here.
Yes.
Like, has this always been this way? Or
then you come back, you speaking like you were there, you speaking to people, hey, how you doing? They're looking at you like,
yeah,
don't talk to me, I don't know you. You like,
yeah,
dang.
you open the door, people not saying thank you or like, what is it always been this way here? But I've definitely never been down south to experience that.
Listen, down south is so amazing. Down south is just a whole different culture. You know, one thing I was telling, he had the funeral a couple of weeks ago, but I was telling my nephews and my little sister as we were driving in the funeral processional about like how it is down south. I said, down south, because they'd never been in a funeral processional before.
Okay.
Well, not where they were old enough to understand like what was going on. Now everyone's older, and they were riding with me. So, they're asking questions, and I believe in educating. So I told the answers. They was like, so how does this thing work? Like, we could just ride through the things and everything I explained. And they was like, so what if people just jump in? I said, people can be rude and jump in the processional. I don't know why people do it, but people can do it.
Yeah.
But one thing I told them, I said, down south,
they pull over on the side of the road.
They pull over on the side of the road and they turn the radios off for respect out of the deceased and the family driving past. Yeah. That's not something that
I saw that for the first time in Arkansas.
Yeah. And in the South, I saw that. I said, that's so dope to me.
Yeah.
Like, stuff like that is so dope to me. And people might be like, okay. But to me, that is so dope.
It's community.
It really is, and it's reverence. It's reverence, it's respect, it's honoring. That's so dope to me. Just the level of selflessness that they have is just amazing. Now, I ain't saying the South is all good because we know they got some fucked up ass.
Oh, yeah.
But there are some redeeming qualities about being in the South. I would encourage any student who is looking to go away because you need to have that experience in which you are on your own before you are seriously on your own.
Definitely. I agree.
And if you're too close to home, it's very easy to, when shit is going wrong at home, for you to I'm just going to go back home. Man. You know, they need me at home. I'm just going to go back home. You know, my mama need me. You know, my sister's acting up. It's too easy for you to go back home.
You stumbled upon my next question of...
Did I really?
What are some things that deter us from going to college?
Feeling like that if we went to college, we are somehow in some sort of way not doing what we need to be doing to contribute to the family.
Okay.
That's a big one. Like a lot of people being like, well, going to college is selfish. Like they have this mindset of,
I need to
why
be
are
here
you
to help my
leaving?
family.
Yeah, why are you leaving the group to just leaving the bucket type situation? You know what I mean? I feel like that is a big one.
Yeah, definitely. I agree with that one. I mean, even people who actually go to school, go off to college, they still feel guilty, and you know, things happen in families. So like people pass, people get sick, people end up in these situations, and I've seen a lot of kids where they were like, I got to go back home. And they end up coming back home, and then they're stuck. They can't leave anymore. And then they sacrifice their own careers and possible happiness for taking care of people who can take care of themselves. And the people let them do it. You know, so
they let them do it because they want to feel like that this person is not leaving them behind.
Yeah.
There's something
it's about them. It's not about anybody else.
It's something about saying, okay, well, when you make it, remember I was there with you the whole way. It's a lack of trust, and it's a lack of instillment or trust in your instillment. I'm speaking to the parents out there. If your children are wanting to go away, you have to trust your raising. This is the point where you have to let them take the test. You raised them. You prepared them for these moments. You have to let them take the test. If they fail, if they flounder, if they fall, guess what? They can always come back home. But you got to let them try. It's better for them to try in a safe environment where they're in a dormitory, not having to pay rent and all these things, than you let them try in their first apartment. And now they got an eviction on their record and every damn thing else.
Yeah. You gotta let them
go.
Yeah.
Let them learn. Yeah. Let them figure out individuality. Let them go.
Yeah, like the word says, train up a child in the way it should go.
And if you have done it right, they will not depart from whatever you're training and you're raising is.
I tell you what, when I went up to college, I mean, obviously, you know, you go off and you learn things, and you deal with this newfound independence and freedom, and you might indulge in things you might not have done in school, but when you were living at home, but you still remember your upbringing, and you don't stray too far from that.
Nope. And
you still think
apple don't fall too far from the tree.
You know. So it's the people who would wild out. Those are people who probably never. They might have been raised in the right way, or they were so sheltered.
They was definitely sheltered. They was
to where they
their
didn't even know how
parent
to
was
act.
trying to clamp down on them so much because the parent did not trust them.
Exactly.
So now that they have their freedom, they finna do whatever they want to do because they grown. Now, and this is the thing.
It's like it's on the opposite end of the spectrum.
It always is. It's like a dog. You keep a dog in a cage their whole life. The second you let them out, they finna do all the tricks. They finna go everywhere. Right. You better have them on a leash because they running the fuck away.
They gone.
They gone because they got to see what is outside of this cage. They've been thinking about it every day while they in this cage every day, just the cage life.
How many houses have you been to? It's like, don't open the door because the dog gonna run out and he ain't coming back.
Yeah.
It's probably he ain't coming back probably because he don't never get to go outside.
And then the thing about it is, like, for my father, well, for me, when it was time for me to go to school, I got accepted into SEMO. I wanted to go to SEMO.
I wanted to go there too, actually.
My daddy said no. He said I was not going to any school that was in the state of Missouri.
Okay.
It was not an option. I was also dating a guy at the time. My daddy was like, hell no.
Ooh.
You finna break up with him too.
Dang.
That happened.
Dang, Pops.
He was not playing. He was like, no. Because he knows me in my heart. He was like, you get too connected to things and your heart is too soft and you'll just be like, well, I don't want to. He said, you need to go somewhere where you know nothing and that therefore.
So how did that conversation go with the boyfriend? Like, my daddy said I got to break up with you.
Man, let me tell you something. I had to sabotage that relationship. I did. He know it too. If he ever listen to this podcast, he don't really fool with electronics.
Shout out to High School Bay, friend of the podcast.
Oh my God! I sabotaged. I had to lie on that relationship.
Oh,
It was so traumatizing. I lied to him and told him I cheated on him for him to break up with me. Yeah, I told him I kissed another guy. I did. I did a fucking terrible thing.
Oh, that man got trust issues to this day because of that.
No, he found out I lied.
Okay. But they don't change how you felt in the moment, though.
It didn't, but it was wrong what I did. I gotta tell the truth now.
You stuck the dagger in the heart.
Because nothing else would have worked. Like I could just be like, well, I'm gonna go away to school. He'd have been like,
okay, I'm going too.
Exactly.
He was like, I cheated on you. Oh man!
And then he was like, you cheated on me. How?
Oh, his heart. I didn't even know. I can feel his heart.
I didn't even know what to say. I was making up stuff as I went. I was like, he was like, how did you cheat on me?
Oh, he was. Oh man, he wanted more details.
He was a Virgo. Of course, he wanted more details. Lord. He wanted to understand. I said, I kissed another guy. He was like, who's this guy? I was like, oh my God, why do you have so many questions? I don't know. I'm making this up as I go.
Oh my goodness!
Like I still don't even remember everything that I said at the moment.
You brought up something. That was one of the things that I had down for why people are deterred from going to school was relationships. Mm-hmm. We get in these relationships in high school and these summer relationships. Before we go off to school, and then we don't want to leave those people. No, like we don't want to leave.
And don't let the person because I was skipped up.
Okay,
so I was supposed to be class of 05, but I was in 04. Okay. So the guy I was talking to, we were the same age at the time, but he was in 05 with everybody else who was my damn age.
Right.
And so that whole notion of leaving somebody behind, like it's not even like, oh well, you can come too and we can go together, because you literally have to wait a whole another 365 days before this is even an option for you.
Would you encourage people to get in, like kids to get to getting relationships before they go off to college? What you say about that?
I don't know. I'm on the fence about that.
Yeah.
I don't feel that you should be stagnant to one relationship though. Like
at that age?
No. I feel like that's a tough one.
It's a tough one. Because I definitely know some people.
Because I know some people who have met their forever person in high school.
I have actually 2 family members.
And it worked very well for them. But I also know some people who have been with somebody from high school and it has been the shittiest shit, shittiest shit. And they just shitting along this shittiest shit still to this day. Just shitty shit.
Still terrible.
And they just hold on.
Never recovered.
But they're just holding on because it's been so long.
Yeah.
That I don't agree with. Just because you've known somebody forever does not mean you hold on to them. If that is not a good. But if you don't have any other parameter of what a relationship is, it's hard for you to let go of that because you don't know anything else.
Yeah, so, I can understand that. So let me picture myself in a situation with my children.
Picture it.
So my daughter says, I want to go to college, but I got this boyfriend, and we really like each other.
You're going to be like my daddy.
Each other. What I would tell her is, if your relationship is going to work, it will work regardless of where you go.
Oh, you so well adjusted. Let me tell you what my daddy said. He wasn't well adjusted. God rest his soul. He said, "Daddy, I really love him." No, the hell you don't. You don't even know what the hell love is. You don't even love yourself.
Okay.
My daddy was so. He said, "You don't even love yourself." He said, "But I love you. I love you enough to tell you finna get the hell up out of here."
There you go. But I mean, I would tell my daughter, "Hey,
Dad, that sucks."
you need what are your goals in life? What is it that you want to accomplish? All right, these are the things you're going to do because you want to accomplish these goals. If that relationship is going to work, it will work no matter where you go.
Yeah.
And you don't have to be close. You can be close and break up. You can be far away and break up.
If that person is going
to be solid with you, they're going to be solid with you no matter what.
That's right.
Don't allow a relationship. In her case, don't allow another boy to make you change your plans in life. Follow your plans in life, and if you all are meant to be, you all will end up right back where you're supposed to be.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and I would tell the same thing to my boys. Don't make decisions for your life based on people. Make them based off of yourself. Mm-hmm. Until you have kids, then you have to make your decision based off your children. But until you start having kids, you need to make sure that your decisions that you're making in life are based on your goals. What are your goals? And I think that's what we spend the time with our kids now, being at the age they are younger, elementary school, middle school, is figuring out what their purpose and their passions are in life so that we can use those things to keep them focused going forward.
Yeah.
Like, you're going to college because of this. We have established that this is what you really want to do in your life. Not that I told you to do, but we've done all these activities throughout your life, and this is where you found the most enjoyment, most fulfillment at. This is what you want to do. Keep your eye there.
Yes.
Because if your eye stays there, then everything else will follow. But if you keep your eye somewhere else, if you keep your eye on a person, people change.
Mm-hmm.
Say, for instance, I'm talking to my sons now. Say, for instance, you love that girl. Y'all been together throughout whole high school. You get to college and she break up with you.
Because it's a whole nother crop of men in college.
Or maybe she's younger, like your situation.
Mm-hmm.
Your significant other is 1 year younger, and you go off to school, or you stay here, and then that year, her senior year, she says, "I don't think we should be together anymore."
Now
you didn't sacrifice a year of your life because of this person when they hadn't even got to a place where they were ready to make that commitment yet either. It's worse if you wait. Just go to school, do your thing, whether it's military, whether it's trade school. Don't
whatever
settle.
Your choice is.
Just make sure this.
Even it could be a job that you're getting right out of high school that may entail for you to travel. Like, say, for instance, you're a person and you decide you're going to be a flight attendant or something like that. Whatever it is that you have your mindset on, don't let things like that deter you, because if it's meant, it's meant.
Exactly.
Do you regret the experience of making family history?
What do you mean?
Do you
regret being like one of the first people to graduate in my family? So I wasn't the first. I was a handful of us. But I think, was I the first? My family is so big, so I don't even know. I could have been the first in my generation or one of the first. But do I regret it? No, I actually. My experience in my family was so positive that I don't know. I don't feel any pressure. If anything, I felt like everybody supported me. I never felt like they put pressure on me. I never felt like people thought I was better than them. I never felt any of the negative things that came from going to school and graduating. I've always been like, people always looked at me like, "Oh, dang, Dion, he did it. That's a smart guy." And, my cousin this, or my cousin that, or my brother this, or my, nephew or niece, or not niece. I ain't no woman. My nephew did this, or my grandson did this. Like, I always got that. And so I don't really feel any negative emotions behind it. I don't feel like it was a burden. If anything, I feel like, okay, now I can talk to my kids like, okay, now I kind of believe, I feel the same way. Everything, your kids don't necessarily have to go to college. My thing is they have to have a plan.
Yeah.
I want you to have a plan.
I agree with that 1,000%.
Okay, so we're going to, while you're, my sons are 6 and 4, my daughter's 12. while we are growing up, we're going to be doing activities and getting involved in things to see what it is that you want to do. Mm-hmm. You know, I'm studying my kids.
Absolutely.
I'm looking at them. I'm looking at how they react to certain things. I'm looking at what they find enjoyment in. I'm like, okay, my son Tony, he loves cooking. He wants to be a chef. Now, it's funny because my mom, when I was younger, she always said that's one thing you will never be as a chef. Because in her era, that's all black people could do. Black men could either be chefs or you can be a housekeeper in her generation. So she vowed, like, my children will never be housekeepers and my children will never be chefs. Now, I think that was a little extreme because, you know, chefs, it's a good job.
That just reminds me of Coco.
Oh.
No music.
No music, yeah. So my son is funny because he wants to be a chef.
Yeah.
And so I think, okay, let me get him involved in some cooking classes, some child cooking classes. Let him help me in the kitchen. He enjoys doing all this stuff.
Right.
You know, and so now I know that's somewhere to push him. I notice how athletic he is and how much he likes to run. Okay, let me get you in baseball. Maybe your things you do well, baseball seems to be your sport. Or my son Torin, he's a rough one. He likes to run and he loves running. Like, okay, let me get you in track, or let me get you in soccer, or let me get you in football in the future, not when they're young, you know, or martial arts. My daughter, she's a bookworm. She's very creative and imaginative. Mm-hmm. Okay, let me get her involved in something where she can maybe, you know, at the time dance didn't work out for her. But something artistic or something where she can use her brain to do stuff like robotics or coding. Like, she's into that type of stuff.
That's
dope.
So
I pay attention to those things because
that's dope, little lady.
I want to be able to add some value to where they're going after high school. Like, if it's college, you want to go to college because you want to do this, because this is what you have enjoy. It's not about just going to college. Me and you probably went to school with a lot of people that were like, I'm just here.
Yeah.
Because that's where I was told I had to go or I should go. You got a lot of undecided majors when they get to college. They sit there wasting all this time and money because they had no idea why they were there.
Or they were sent there by their parent. It was so many people who was like, my mama said I had to come here.
Yeah.
For at least one semester. And you never see them ever again.
Yeah, you never see them again. You wasting all that time. You know, so right now I'm going to take my time to really get to know my kids so we can come up with a plan on what they want to do when they graduate. You know, whatever that may be. Mm-hmm. So, yeah.
I don't necessarily regret making family history, but it wasn't easy. I hated the whole, you a college girl. I hated that shit. I'm the same motherfucker. Stop doing that. Like, don't do that to people. Y'all stop it. Yeah. I hate that.
But it's like I said, it says something about themselves. It's not so much you. It's that.
But I hated all of that. I hated to be the trigger. I hated to be my friend Monica always says the sun. I hated to be the sun to shine light on your imperfection. I don't want to be none of it. I just want to do this one little thing, and I don't want it to cultivate all of these things. You know what I mean? I hate the whole process of the generational breakdown of the curses. I cannot stand it. It's so much.
Yeah. So
much. And I just be my introverted self just be like, you know what? How can I escape from here? How? Yeah. I'm just going to go back to school. That's why being away is good.
I love being away.
I'm telling you. That's why I was like, you know what? I'm going back to Alabama.
I told my kids, y'all need to get away. Y'all getting out of here. Y'all going far, far away.
Yep.
Far, far away. So I have somewhere to go visit. I want maybe one of y'all go to California. One of y'all go to Florida.
My sister's little brother, so he's like my little brother. He went to Hawaii.
Ooh.
Yes.
That was one of my options.
He's so dope. He went to Hawaii. He graduated. He got a degree in Japanese. No, it's a Chinese. Just learning how to. And
he got a major. He majored in Chinese.
It's either Chinese or Mandarin or Japanese or something like that.
Okay.
And right now he's overseas. He lives in Japan and he teaches in Japan.
He teaches Chinese in Japan.
He teaches English. Oh. Obviously.
Like, why would you learn Chinese?
Because you need to be able to. You need to be able to translate.
You saying he's teaching English?
Yes.
Yeah.
But you still have to know how he was first in China.
Okay.
And then
all right.
Moved from China to Japan.
I'm like, wait a minute. That's like me learning German.
So I don't know if it was Mandarin he learned or something.
Gotcha.
But he started in China, and then now he's in Japan.
Okay, that makes a lot more sense.
Because he likes Japan. Japan is a lot cleaner, no disrespect.
Oh, man.
The air quality is a lot better.
Really? I don't know much about those places. I've never been.
I've never been either, but I know somebody that's there. That's so dope to me. That it's like, I know somebody who lives in Japan, like that, and you know. And a lot of times, it's like that's the thing. You know what I mean?
I would love to visit.
He was able to break that barrier. Be somebody who moved out of the country and worked out of the country. Like that's a whole nother barrier that was broken. So I thought that was pretty dope.
I kind of wanted to leave off with. You got another question?
I got one more.
Sure, go ahead.
Okay. One more question is, what do you think that you have gained from the experience and that has help your family line?
I think my experiences in college helped me to, I have a different perspective of life. Because I wasn't one of those kids that went to school and like lost my mind. I had a lot of responsibility when I was in school. And so it kept me grounded. And I also say my upbringing kept me grounded too, but making sure, I feel like God giving me responsibility in school, whether it was playing football or whether it was working or whether it was trying to get my grades up, or it was always something that I was trying to do that made school my primary focus. So the after party life or the party life wasn't really that high on my priority list. I did those things, but it wasn't high. I think having those responsibilities kept me grounded and making sure that I stayed close to who I am. And so with that, when I talk to younger people about college experience, I always talk about what life, like when I talk about life, like life is going to come. College is like that bubble you get to go to. It's like, okay, say for instance, outside is poisonous.
Oh,
right?
like COVID?
Yeah. So COVID is poisonous, right? And you're in a house. You're in a house, right? Mm-hmm. Instead of going from from inside to the outside, there's a bubble that you go to first.
Like a mask.
Yeah, it's just like, okay, let's just go in this bubble. Let me teach you all what life is like, but you're still protected. That's what college is. College is you experiencing life, but in a bubble. It's like, because you still, say for instance, you got your dorms, right? That's your room and board, but you get financial aid, So financial aid pays your bills.
Yeah.
So you're still paying your bills.
And you still understand the concept that things are not free.
Yeah, you still understand you got a meal plan you got to pay for. You got to get gas for your car. You got to get groceries. You got to pay for electricity and cable in your dorm. And if you get an apartment, you really learn it. But, you learn the idea of insurance and internet and all that stuff and making sure that it's certain things you learn, but you learn it in a bubble to where you're protected. And I feel like when people don't
getting a job, a lot of people, that's their first time getting a job.
Yeah.
It's work study programs and stuff like that, living on campus.
And so it allows you to walk slowly into life compared to just saying, okay, after high school, all right, I'm just going to get me a job somewhere. And now you in it. Now you in life. And life is hard.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, life is tough at that time. When you're 18, you're trying to grow and you're trying to learn who you are, and then you got to experience life too.
No,
I don't want no parts of that. So
life happens while you're planning shit.
Yeah, so I always encourage people. I encourage people to go to college, but I also encourage them to go there with a purpose. Like, don't go there just because to go there.
If you don't have a plan, if you don't have a reason why you're going there, if you haven't searched and said, this is what I want to do, and what I want to do requires for me to get a degree in order to do it, then I don't encourage people to go to college. Yeah. Even if that is what you're trying, like if you have a desire, you want to break a generational curse or whatever the case may be. I understand that because that was something I wanted to do. Yeah. But I also wanted to have a degree because I wanted to do what I wanted to do in life. Therapy requires for me to have a degree. Yeah. So even though I did want to do something that was merely for my family, I also put myself in a substantial amount of debt for a purpose that also served me as well.
True. Yeah, I understand that. I agree with that. I mean,
So-
if you're like myself, where you went to school and you had a plan, and then they all went to shit, then you had to figure it out. That's
Because
different.
that happens a lot.
That happens too. I went to school thinking that I was going to be a doctor. I went to school to be a pediatrician, and I wanted to possibly play the NFL. And both of those dreams failed miserably within the first school year. And so I had to regroup. I had to figure out, okay, what am I going to do with my life? What is my passion? What do I enjoy? And I fiddled around until I found, the path that I went on. And even then, I still didn't know where I was going to do. And so you don't have to know 100% of what you want to do. Just have an idea of where you want to end up.
Just know enough to take the first
you may
step.
You may not know the position you want, but what does that position entail that you're looking for?
Is that Martin Luther King?
What?
Oh yeah, you don't have to see the entire stairway to take the first step.
Exactly. I don't know if that was that Martin Luther King?
I think so, or something.
Yeah,
Correct me in the comments.
Yeah. So yeah.
So me answering that question, I feel that my experience helped my family line by I had several cousins that went to college after me. My nephew, who was born when I was in high school, is currently at he's currently finishing his second. He's on his second year at Mizzou right now.
Okay.
I was able to give him a lot of advice because he knew he wanted to be an engineer from a very early age. So I was able to give him, once my sister knew that that's what he wanted to do. She'd never been to college at the time. She's since then been to college and right now is completing her paramedics license, which is dope as fuck. Shout out to my sister. And when he was making those decisions, she didn't know what to do, but she had me. She was able to call me, hey, I don't know how this goes. I don't even know what steps you have to take for college or to get a kid into college or to get them the best things that they were. And I was able to give him that. I was able to tell him about things that I didn't know when I went. I was able to tell him, hey, you can do AP courses, or you can CLEP classes. You can do this, you can do that. You can get dual credit. You can do this. You can get scholarship from here and there, and whatever the case may be. You need to fill out your FAFSA. You can take the ACT or the SAT as many times as you want. You want to take it as much as you possibly can because they're going to just take the highest score. It's not going to know how many times. All those things that I didn't know, I was able to do that. And to be able to see my nephew go to school practically free was everything. Worth every goddamn penny that I have to pay back. It's not, because it's fucking ridiculous. Nobody should be paying. But the sentiment is there. But I still don't think none of us should have to pay for school. Mm-hmm. And I mean that.
Yeah.
Get to it, Biden.
Yeah.
You said it.
Where do I need to send these bills to?
You said it. Mary said it. You said it. Shoot.
I had something at the end, but I feel like we need to dedicate maybe a whole podcast to this. And this is like resources in terms of for kids who are, thinking about going to college, the different resources that you have to get there, especially saving money. One of the programs that I learned about after high school was the A+ program.
Yes, that's a part of it.
Yep. A+ is a great program that most high schools have.
Yep.
To where they will, if you're a part of the program, you do certain activities with the organization. You keep your GPA up to a certain degree. I think the GPA is 2.75, I believe. It might have went up since then. I don't know. But you keep that GPA, and they will pay for you to go to community college for 2 years, and then you can go to any college of your choosing after that for free. So they will pay for you to go to college if you're a part of that program.
And let me tell you something, ain't nothing wrong with that choice.
Yeah, nothing wrong with that at all. To think, especially if I look at all the money that I owe the government.
I could have did that.
Yeah. So you got that. Really research that into your school. If you come from a school like, we came from, where you had to go and seek the information, like the counselors weren't really giving you that information, then you go do that. You go into ask them, hey, what is this program? I want to be involved in it. I think you have up until maybe your junior year to get involved in it, maybe. But yeah, you got that. There's also a program in St. Louis called Sky's the Limit. And these are for, I think it's young ladies, young African American women who, if you're a part of this program, you are able to, I think it's by Matthew Dickey's.
Okay.
Boys and Girls Club, but I think it's a scholarship that's awarded for young ladies in the St. Louis area. Will give you scholarships to go to school, to go to college of your choosing. You also have the Aim High program.
Okay, yeah, Aim High.
Which I'm learning about a little bit now. It's a good program for your younger people who are trying to figure out, what college they want to go to or what they want to go to school for. They kind of teach them certain tricks and strategies for just what they need in order to get there. Gives them the feel of a college life at a young age. I know once you get to college, you also have TRIO, which really supports African American students, minority students, as they're in school. I did TRIO a little bit in my freshman year, but I really didn't get involved in it too much. But that is a resource that's on most college campuses. So, along with scholarships, United Negro College Fund.
FastWeb.
Most businesses in the world today have some type of scholarship. So just think of any business you can think of and go on the line
They
and
got
look up
scholarships for anything.
Yeah, go on McDonald's.com, Taco Bell.
Left-handers.
Papa John's had a scholarship. Sometimes your high school might have a scholarship. I was the first recipient of the Corey Seaver Memorial Scholarship.
Were you really?
Yeah.
Dope.
And so...
rest in peace to Corey
Rest
Seaver.
in peace to Corey Seaver. Great guy.
Great guy.
I love his family. Jocelyn, Drew.
Friends of the podcast.
Yeah, friends of the podcast. You all are in my prayers, and I'm forever grateful that you all allow me to be the first recipient of that scholarship. That they still are holding. They still give scholarships for it to this day, and they even named a whole track meet after him as well. So in the St. Louis area.
They kind of did some of the same things. Isn't this Ryan Hummer got a
they have
scholarship?
I think so. Yeah, Ryan Hummer as well. Rest in heaven to that brother as well. So those are some organizations and some programs that you can take advantage of to help you get to your goal of going to college if that's your choice.
Also, one thing that I wish, if I could do it all over again, what I would do differently. Like Corey's, like I'm thinking Corey Seaver. I'm sorry. Like Tony is saying, the A+ program and things of that nature. You can take college courses while you're in
high school.
Yeah. You can get them for dual enrollment. Dual enrollment is big.
Yeah.
Like if your first 2 years of college is like high school plus.
Pretty much.
It's like you got Disney and Disney Plus. It's like high school plus. So if you're taking AP classes or whatever the case may be, you can almost qualify those for dual enrollment and get college credit for those classes. So therefore, you're not going to college and doing the same thing over and over again. That's one, going to save you some money. And two, if you play your cards right, you can walk up out of high school with an associate's degree. That's number one. Number two, second thing I would have did differently is take advantage of trade schools. Because taking advantage of a trade school while you're in high school will also give you a trade that you can keep with you for the rest of your life, give you the ability to obtain gainful employment while you're working through college if you are someone who is not got a lot of support and your choice is going to have to be working. So say, for instance, if you are a young lady who is very gifted with your hands and you want to be you have the ability to do hair, taking some time out to get a cosmetology license while you're in high school may bode you very well while you're in the dormitories and you are doing people's hair to pay for your schooling.
Yep, black girls need their hair done before the party.
And if you in that dorm, listen, we had a whole salon in our dormitory for the students who lived in the dorms just to have a place to do their hair. That's a free chair.
Right.
That's a free chair, and you got the skills. Come on,
no
man.
booth rent.
If I could do it all over again, I would have did that.
Yeah, I would have learned how to do something. Definitely, because I definitely was one of the guys like, man, who can cut my hair? I need a lining.
Listen, I told my nephew that, and he when he graduated from high school, he had quite a bit college credits. He did the A+ program, and he had two trades when he walked out of Summit.
Really?
Yeah, and that's only because, like I was telling him, I was like, listen to me, listen to me, listen to me, hear me out. He like, TT, I won't do all this. Listen to me. Listen to me.
Save you some money. It's
Hear
gonna make you some
me
money.
out. Because that's going to prevent them from saying, oh, well, you 19, I can give you the bare minimum of money. Oh, yeah, I'm 19, but I have credentials.
Right.
So respect the fact that even at my young age, I took going into the workforce seriously, and I prepared myself. So please don't disrespect me on this paycheck.
Right.
Because that's important when you're talking about making a difference between being able to pay for your schooling and borrowing for your schooling.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. So what's our affirmations for this week?
Affirmations for this week are as follow. You ready?
I am ready.
First affirmation is, I pave the way in all that I do. I pave the way in all that I do. I pave the way in all that I do. Second affirmation is, the choices that I make are to better me no matter what anyone thinks. The choices that I make are to better me no matter what anyone thinks. The choices that I make are to better me no matter what anyone thinks.
Nobody wants to see us together. We don't matter.
I'm hollering.
I don't know why that song's out on here. I ain't heard that song in so long. I might play it tonight before I go to bed.
Okay, Akon.
Akon.
And last but not least, I enjoy every opportunity to learn and grow. I enjoy every opportunity to learn and grow. I enjoy every opportunity to learn and grow. And those are your affirmations for this week.
Those are the affirmations of the week. So those are great. And this is probably the first time where I felt all three of them hit me. And so I can't wait to sit with them to see which one speaks to me more over this week. So the journal prompt this week, in the spirit of what we talked about today, in terms of our children and first generation college students, what can you do today to prepare your children for post high school life? So I guess I'm singling out the parents this week. Even if it's not your children, what are some things you can do to prepare the youth that you have a hold on? So maybe you're not a parent, but maybe you're a mentor. Maybe you are an auntie or uncle, and you have kids that look up to you, that look to you for guidance. What can you do today to prepare those children for post-high school life? And I really want you to think about that, because our youth really need our guidance. That's what we're here for. We are here to guide the generation under us, and they guide the generation under them. That's how we grow as people. That's how we grow as a society. And so we need to take that very serious. We're not just living for ourselves, we're living for other people as well. And so I want you all to take a moment this week to really reflect on what you can do to really further the next generation when it comes to post-high school life.
Okay. And last thing I want to say before we close on out, for the resource for this week, it's not necessarily a resource again, but it's more so a request or an announcement. If you are in the greater St. Louis area, there is a great call and a need for bigs with the Big Brothers and Big Sisters organization. In pairing with what we're talking about today, I would like to encourage you, if you do not have anyone like Tony was talking about today, to impart your wisdom to, or to give the lessons, give your lessons down to. Just going on over to big brothers and big sisters. They are dying for bigs. They are dying for people to give some encouragement, some wisdom to some of these littles out here.
Yes, that's a great organization that really, they do a lot of great work, and
Yes.
those kids really need support. And
Yes.
so if you can, squeeze out some time to get involved, then please do.
But if you can't, get involved with someone that you know,
Yeah.
whether it be a child, a kid in the neighborhood, a niece or nephew, a cousin, someone who's just 2 or 3 years younger than you that you know. Sometimes you can give wisdom to one of your homeboys.
True.
One of your homegirls. Just give it. Don't hoard it. If you got it, give it.
Don't hoard it.
All right, y'all. I love y'all.
All right. Well, I am Tony Gillen, licensed professional counselor, and
I am Nkiru, the Love Guru.
And you all have a blessed week.
Yes.
We will see you all next week.
Peace, love, and light.
Bye.
Bye.